Spare me a minute and let me go to the phone lines and speak to Adib Saani. He's a security analyst. Let me seek his views on this matter we have been discussing all morning from the perspective of, the police and how they have conducted themselves in this whole matter. Chief, good morning and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, my brother.
Your initial reaction to the announcement by the Ghana police, did you expect that announcement from the Ghana police?
Well, first of all, a very good morning to yourself, your guest in the studio, and your cherished listeners. Indeed, I wasn't particularly so shocked by the outcome of the DNA results. From day one, I have always contended that the manner in which the whole issue was handled would not end in a manner that we would prefer. In criminology, this is basic knowledge. I mean, this is no rocket science. The first 24, 48 hours is the most crucial time in conducting an investigation. It is when you have to get it right or just mess it up altogether. And I've always said, we've allowed these kidnappers so much time, so much room to put their acts together and probably done all they intended to do. It was something that I have suspected all over the period, especially after those skeletal remains were found. Unfortunately, we couldn't say it because it was such an uncomfortable feeling, and obviously we were all in a state of denial, hoping that a miracle would happen. Unfortunately, this is what has happened, and I can only send my heartfelt condolence to the family, and also use this opportunity to talk about the fundamental issues within the police service, particularly with respect to crime and investigation. It is a wake-up call. It is a rude awakening for that matter. I think this should not just be one of those talk and within some few days it dies down. This should present to us a unique opportunity to look deeper into crime and investigation in the country and whether indeed we are prepared to confront the emerging threats to our security. Some of these threats are transnational in nature and extremely sophisticated to the extent that if care is not taken, these criminals would always be a step ahead of the police. Indeed, when the issue of kidnapping came up, the police were shocked. Like, it was more like we weren't prepared for it. You get me? It was a shockwave kind of thing, and we didn't have enough expertise to handle the cases that were reported to the police. We didn't have negotiators. I understand the fourth victim, after she was kidnapped, the police virtually were bargaining with the kidnappers over a period of time as if they were buying clothing in the market. And it allowed the kidnappers so much time. And I was wondering, don't we have professional, well-experienced negotiators within the police service? Don't we have some expertise, that would allow the police to locate using LPS technology or any of those cell phone technologies that can actually pinpoint accurately where a call is emanating? At a point, the kidnappers use the health insurance ID of the fourth victim to register mobile money for her people to transfer money to them. So you can imagine, the whole thing was handled so haphazardly, so unprofessionally, and there was so much mediocrity at play. That is why we never made any significant inroads. Compare it with that of the Canadian girls in Kumasi. Look, this time around it was more surgical. There was better coordination among the various security agencies and even the security agencies and the media, because when it all happened, the media were asked to keep on it. Nobody should talk about it because they had some information they needed to work on. Because if it goes out there, obviously that might give the kidnappers elite. There was pressure on the police to deliver. A lot of work went into it, and we succeeded. If that was the same as the Takoradi girls, I'm sure by now we would have had them with their families. So, like I indicated, it's a wake-up call. We have to look at the investigation regime, which I must say is not something we can be proud of as a people. A lot of cases go to the police. Majority of those cases are not investigated. How much more closure brought to them? So the possibility that a criminal will be left off the hook when he perpetrates a crime is like 80%. So obviously what it means is they would have the impetus, they would have the motivation to go ahead and commit the crime. You report cases to the police, nobody does anything about it. But if it is the minister's son or an MP son, someone would do something about it. How about the average Joe persons like you and I? When something happens to us, that is the same as the Takoradi incident. When it was reported to the police, they dragged their feet. Nobody gave it any attention until the media took up the issue. Then it became a national discourse. Then we had people artificially running helter-skelter as if they were serious about it. Never. And to further compound the situation is the fact that we have one of the most incompetent CID bosses in the history of Ghana at post, despite all the mess she's caused, despite the disconnect she's caused between the police and the civilian population. Now, my brother, whatever the police is, a lot of Ghanaians don't believe it. Look, I have had many people call me to tell me that, hey, police, they said the remains are that of the girls. We don't believe it. They are lying because they are the same persons who said they knew where the girls are. Where is all this coming from? And my brother, she's still at post. Until we are able to have the police accountable to the people, where persons in positions of responsibility account to the people, we will still have a police service that would be ineffective, that would be unprofessional, and that would be unable to execute to the latter its mandate as enshrined in the Police Service Act 350. And a conscious attempt will have to be made going forward to depoliticize the police service. All of this is what is causing the increase in the crime rate in Ghana for the past 3-4 years. This is no politics. This is hard, solid, empirical facts. It's public information. Anyone can go on Google and check police statistics. It is disheartening. And I think it's about time.
Now, the point you made about the media and the Canadian issue where the media was told to zip up. Are you suggesting that the media's reportage of the case of the Takoradi girls could have led to the situation where we are in now?
The whole case was messed up before even the media picked it up. Nobody spoke about it. The police are saying that the family attempted negotiating with the criminals, and at the point they were even sending money. And it was until after the family realized this was beyond their sphere, hence the need to report to the police, that they came to the police. And the family, on the other hand, is saying, no, from day one they reported to the police and nobody did anything about it until they started organizing demonstrations and the media picked it up. So I don't blame the media. Rather, the media brought to the fore the fundamental issues within our security agencies, so we are able to better comprehend and make better progressive suggestions as to how to improve policing in Ghana. All right? If you, I don't know, I don't know how many of your listeners, but I'm pretty sure a lot of them have probably read about the Munich Olympic Games in the 1970s in Germany, where some Palestinian dissidents took Israeli athletes hostage. Mm-hmm. While the hostages were in the custody of the hostage takers within a building at the Olympic Village, the media was covering the event live, and the abductors, they were inside watching everything pan out on live television. Even when the commandos arrived and they were scaling. They were on the roof of the building, ready to storm. The abductors were watching everything on live TV. So we know historically when there's no proper coordination between the security agencies and the media, there's no way they can effectively do their work. I speak as a security stakeholder, and I'm speaking as a member of the Ghana Journalists Association, and I understand the importance of this linkage. And I think going forward, it has to be harnessed in a much more coherent fashion than we are having currently with, alleged police officers allegedly hitting media persons and nobody is doing anything about it. So generally, like I said, it is about time we take a closer look at policing in the country, put pressure on the stakeholders, especially the politicians, to keep their hands off the work of the police, and also put pressure on the police themselves to be fair and firm and to be professional in their disposition and in executing their mandates as enshrined in the law.
Now, just 1, 2, 3 questions before we end the conversation. Now, at what point do we employ the use of, DNA testing? Or, at what point do we employ that?
Well, DNA testing started somewhere in the 1980s, I think, in America. And it has helped tremendously in bringing closure to a lot of cases with the police, especially murder cases, rape cases. And it's just to confirm whether indeed a suspect was at the crime scene or was involved in the crime tentatively. Because in Ghana, most of the cases before the courts are based on circumstantial evidence. You were last seen with the victim, so it is highly likely you killed the victim. You get me? Or you were at the crime scene when it happened, so you are highly likely to be the one who perpetrated circumstantial. And so you have many of these cases, even though you know full well that, look, this is the guy who committed the crime, but the evidence is not robust enough. It is circumstantial, and so it's thrown out of court, and you have these bad guys back in the streets and continuing their activities. But with DNA testing, biometric fingerprint, analysis, you are able to tentatively conclude that indeed this person was there or this person committed or commissioned the crime. In the 1970s, there was a man who was on rampage, raping and killing, especially women, in the U.S. They called him the Golden State Killer. It was just recently they caught him in his 90s, Michael D'Angelo, using DNA technology called genealogy. That is using the DNA of your relatives to track you. Apparently, his grandson was involved in a traffic infringement. Then he was taken to the police station, and DNA of him was taken. And they realized, oh my goodness, he is related to the 1970s Golden State Killer. And that is how come they caught him. So if we are able to digitalize crime and investigation in Ghana, it can help a lot in unraveling many of the mysteries like Frederick Autry, like J.B. Damkwa, like the lady who recently died who was killed at Gapoha. And so many of the cases before the police that is not making any headway if we are able to digitalize. So I always advise, look, let us reduce the number of VA slam cruisers we buy. It's getting out of hand. And commit these resources, at least a quarter of those resources, to improving the crime and investigation regime in the country. That would help tremendously in even deterring crime in the first place, because it is very consistent with what we call in criminology situational crime prevention. And I think that is the way to go. But it doesn't end there. The equipment, fine, it's important. We have a crime lab in Accra. We should have a crime lab in Kumasi to take care of the middle belt, a crime lab somewhere in the Savannah or northern region to take care of the northern sector. That, I think, can help. However, that is not all. officers would have to be trained as well to be able to use these facilities. Officers who are usually the first respondents to crime scenes would also have to be trained so that crime scenes are not contaminated. They are able to gather crucial evidence, including harvesting of fingerprints, before people troop to the crime scene. Unfortunately, officers are so ill-trained to the extent that they even contaminate the crime scene before other people even arrive there. We really need to, improve their expertise through training.
Now, the question you didn't answer for me is at what point, you decide to use that? I mean, that technology. At what point? Is it that at the point when you realize that you can't identify the bodies? Is it that you want to establish their identities, or is it that you can't identify them? At what point do you use that technology?
There are so many points. I mean, that would necessitate the use of DNA technology. A lot. For example, if you have a child that you want to ascertain whether the child is yours or not, you can employ the services of a DNA testing lab. Okay, when there's murder, you need some crucial evidence to pin a main suspect to the crime scene. You can use DNA technology. When a body cannot be identified, you can use dental records. You can use DNA analysis. Interestingly, even if the bones are 1,000 years old, you can still get DNA, especially from the femur, which is the longest bone in the body, or you can get it from the dental cavity. That is where a concentration of DNA is. So in this situation, they claim bone fragments have been found. The only way to verify, the only way to ascertain whether indeed they are that of the girls or not would have to be DNA technology, all right, or DNA analysis, and that is what has been done. So those are the points, even though a lot more. I mean, sometimes some bone fragments can be found. The people can be wondering, is this bones of a human or a primate? You can use DNA to tell all of this. So there are so many points at which DNA technology can be used as a last resort.
Now, in ending our conversation this morning, so far the families have indicated that they don't have confidence in the police. They don't trust the so-called forensic work they have done. Would we indeed require a second opinion?
Yes, we would. I have advised the family to maintain their composure. They should be patient. In the end, come what may, like we say in Ghana, the remains will be handed over to the family for befitting burial. Okay? When the remains are handed over to you, it is within their right to conduct an independent analysis to confirm whether indeed what the police is saying is true or not. Okay? There are so many private labs in the country that does it. So I think to allow sleeping dogs to lie, the family can go ahead after receiving the remains and conduct their own analysis. Secondly, some persons would have to be held accountable. A lot of mess was caused. Things could have been done better. A lot of incompetence was demonstrated. So what do we have to do right? Based on principle, I think the CID boss, because the BNI boss was also part of the process, but he left, the former boss. And now we still have the CID boss at post after all the mess she's caused. So I'm saying that based on principle, okay, she should just resign. Unfortunately, in Ghana, we have a constitution that's constitutionalism. Maybe we are yet to get there. Okay, when you go to other jurisdictions, look, There can be an accident on the road resulting in the deaths of like 3-4 people, and the roads minister would go because certain policy guidelines were not duly followed. That is accountability. Unfortunately, it is not so in Ghana, but I think that people would have to start holding public officers in positions of responsibility to account. You don't worship politicians. You don't worship politicians. They are there to serve you. You voted for them. You have the power. The power doesn't lie in the politicians. It lies in the thumb of the people. Unfortunately, what do you see? Oh, Honorable. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. As if he wants to lie now for Honorable to step on him. No, that doesn't have to be the case. So I think it is time for a reconscientization. It is time for a reawakening. We have to start seeing things from a different, objective perspective rather than just the political lenses with which we see everything in this country. It is not helping.
Adib, one year, but a quick one. Before such, DNA tests, if the bodies are not beyond recognition, are families allowed to see the bodies before such DNA or autopsies are done?
Well, it depends. If the body is not beyond recognition, families can come and confirm whether these are my relatives or not. I mean, it has happened before. I've been privy to one before some years ago when I lost a cousin. Those times we were kids, so we were not allowed to enter the morgue. But my brothers were allowed to enter just to confirm whether indeed she was the one or not. Okay, so it does happen. However, when it's beyond, when the body cannot be easily identified by the looks, perhaps due to enhanced decomposition, the family is not usually allowed to look at it. And in some cases also, the fear of maybe some bacteria or some viruses or, some I don't know how to put it because I'm not a medical expert, being transferred from the body to another person is high. The body might be quarantined, so nobody would be allowed access to it. But on this occasion, I understand, their bone, their skeletal remains, like has been described by the police, and I don't think any relative would be able to tell this is the skeleton of my ward. No, I doubt. So the only thing that needed to be done to bring closure to all of that is the DNA test.
We are grateful you joined us this morning on the show.
My pleasure.
And that's Adib Saani. He's a security expert joining us with his thoughts on the matter at hand.
New test in Common Bruninye. New test, no. A bayer from most Nina and Cobruchri.